So Sebastiani Cabernet Sauvignon. So this is where it all started. So Sebastiani were the first to grow Cabernet Sauvignon in Sonoma. That's a pretty big deal, right? So a lot of times, throughout all of California and Sonoma and these areas, it's Zinfandel and Alicante Boucher and Carignan, a lot of French grapes, a lot of field blends, which I would die to get my hands on. Like, how did that taste back in the day?
Right.
So super cool stuff. But, oh man, I think this is such a cool, almost departure from what a lot of wineries are doing now. So this Cabernet is going to be from the North Coast. So when we think about the California Appalachians, there's Sonoma, and then Sonoma is part of the North Coast. So they are sourcing from Sonoma. They are sourcing from Lake County and Red Hills, and I love those areas and look out for them because they are going to be up and coming. They have this really beautiful volcanic soils and some of the best regions in the world for wine growing, for grape growing, have volcanic soils. And I really always get like just a nice little bit of dustiness to them, but
there's a lot of spice.
A lot of spice.
This is really good. What would you say to somebody that, because I get it a lot here, if I'm going to drink a cab, it's going to be from Napa.
If they have that price book.
Yeah, roger that.
If they have that price book. That's the thing, is that even in Sonoma and Napa, the prices are going to go up. And I do love a Napa cab. I have some in my portfolio. They're wonderful. I prefer a Sonoma, like an Alexander Valley cab. I think you get more spice from them. You get some more kind of complexity. They're sometimes tend to be a little bit drier, whereas the Napa Valley cabs are, in my opinion, a little bit more lush. They're very full-bodied. They're very giving, which is wonderful, unless you get up into the mountains, in which that's into the hundreds of dollars generally. But it's great, and it's a great marker for people. But I think that there's so much wine out there, man. Like, just put yourself in somebody else's hands and go for it.
Don't limit yourself.
Yeah,
that's what I say.
Right? Say
I bet you do.
Well, and that's the great thing is if somebody, right? So if somebody,
whatever Jen brings, it's always great.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I didn't know I like that area.
Well, it was funny because I was with another winery's ambassador for the United States out of Argentina, and he had this beautiful Argentine wine, and it was Petit Verdot, Cabernet Franc, and Malbec from Mendoza, and he's like, this is your Cabernet Sauvignon from California drinkers wine. Because it has tannin and it has acidity and it has all of these really nice berry flavors and structure, but because you like this doesn't mean you're not gonna like this, So people are gonna say, oh, I don't like Malbec. Yeah, but this has Cabernet Franc in it, which adds a little bit of earthiness and spice to it, and has Petit Verdot, which adds that structure to it. So that's why it's really nice to have somebody that you trust, that you can go to when you talk about wine, and then you're like, oh, I want to branch out. I really like.
Isn't it fun to explore?
I really like Armador Zinfandels. I like really big, robust, juicy reds. Have you ever had Portuguese wine? Right. I mean, it gets hot there. It gets hot in Armador in California. It gets hot in Portugal. So it's about like looking at those climates and seeing what makes sense. And you know what? We're so super lucky that we live in northern Michigan, because there are grape varieties that nobody's ever heard of that we grow up here and we're familiar with, and we're able to say, like a Gewürztraminer and Pinot Gris or whatever, but we're gonna go, oh, okay, so this grows up by us, and it gets cold, and it grows in Germany, and it grows in Alsace, and it grows in Oregon, and trying to find where that equates. But it's a really good teaching tool. If something that you like grows in this kind of climate, then somewhere else in the world in that same kind of climate, you might like it.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm a nerd for what I do. So.
Well, I tend to think that for the most part we kind of mirror our customers in how we explain wine.
Yeah.
Like, I really like this.
Right.
And I like it because it does this to me. We're not that analytical when it
Right.
comes to explaining things.
Right.
And I think this is a perfect little. This is how we learn.
Exactly.
Because
Yeah.
learning wine, it will take us a lifetime, and we still won't learn it
Right.
all. Even
That's-
a sommelier
you know,
should say
but
the same thing.
You
That's
know, and-
exactly
yeah.
the reason
and how
I got
fun
in.
to explore
Yeah.
and have fun with it.
Exactly. The reason I got into wine was many reasons, but the main reason was I was like, I'll never know everything. You're never gonna know everything, and you're never gonna be necessarily the smartest person at the party, because you might be at a party and you're just like, oh, I taste 1,000 wines every month, and I've studied this, and there might be somebody at that party that's lived in a region that you've only read about and really knows it. So that's why I love it, because you're always learning and things are always changing. That's very true. But also that's why I like things like this. This is relatable.
Sure.
The saying these wines are like the Breakfast Club because.
Right.
So something that I was kind of alluding to with the Sebastiani Cabernet, saying it's kind of a departure, is because it's 13.5. It's 13.5% alcohol. So a lot
That
of
seems lighter than it. Yeah.
bingo. So a lot of these Cabernets and a lot of these red blends and things like that you see nowadays are 14.5,
Yeah.
14.9, and
We're
I'm
running across that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had one last night that was,
A big
Yeah.
heat bomb.
yeah.
I'm 5 foot nothing, right? I fill up quick. So I'd rather have something that's a 13.5. I can have 2 glasses
Right.
and be doing good, So
Right.
there are a lot of times where people have a glass of wine, and at that 14.9% alcohol,
ya.
it hits you.
It's, yeah.
If there are some times that it's really good winemaking if they are able to integrate it, but
Right.
there, like you just said, you had a wine last night and you could tell the booziness.
Yeah.
You could really kind of be like, oh wow, this is gonna hit me. But there's some sneaky ones. There are some sneaky ones that have like a 15.1 and you're like, oh wow. So I think that what they did here is that this makes it a really nice
It's very drinkable.
dinner wine, because you're sitting there and you're having conversation and you're not getting schnockered, quite frankly.